Welcome to another episode of Seekers of the Supernatural. I'm here with Chris Lauren and Wade Kirby. And we're going to be talking about dealing with haunted items this week. To start this off, we're going to bring Wade in. And, Wade's always inside the museum helping out. And you know a lot about these haunted items. I mean, you've been around them long enough.
They have a personality. They have an energy. They have a feeling around them. There are times when it's very active. There are times when it's very, very dormant. You feel like you're being watched. You feel like what I find interesting is in the moment, and I want to get to the haunted items as far as how to deal with them, is if we didn't have the electrical equipment that we do now, say we're 50 years back, it would be a little different ball game to have that museum or an item that would have a attached entity. I think it's very important first to explain to people what an attached entity would be, how it would be obtained. For example, buying a barn table from the thrift store or even a tag sale, a estate sale, being exposed to a lot of energy. Say, for example, if someone was got raped or stabbed violently upon that table, that energy, especially since it's wood, would be retained. I think I'm all fine.
Oh, Wade just got booted from podcast.
Booted the. Let's see if we can. We can still hear you. If you want to talk, keep on talking, Wade.
I think I'm still hearing you. Okay, I think I'm trying to get back on.
So so we've been having some technical difficulties here at the house. The Wi-Fi's been a little crazy over here tonight.
Remember, she just brought a table home from the tag sale and explain ways that you clear a table.
They can hear you.
Well, there's one way, for example, and this could pertain to jewelry. It could pertain to any item. So I use a table as an example.
Okay, Wade's back.
Let's see.
There's Wade.
Okay.
I don't see it, but I'm going to take your word for it. Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. So, for example, to determine that you have, put this way, if I was buying an item,
put this way, if I was buying an item from,
there you go. Continue.
I would want to clear it first. My home is precious territory. I'm sorry to pause. The cameras keep going in and out. Don't worry.
Just keep on talking.
Okay.
They're going to start yelling at you right now.
Well, because it's already done. So you want to clear the table. Nowadays, because the world are so heightened and increased, which can be a good thing, but sage, for example, that doesn't do anything. And you want to get something on it as far as the removal process that would take care of strong entities. Even if you think you have a small, you just want to clear it, make yourself more confident about bringing it in. I would, and this is not to be religious, but I would use holy water. I would apply some holy oil, keep it outside if you can for 3 days, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and consecrate it every day with anointing it with holy oil. By the way, items blessed. This is very important. Can they hear me?
It's weird. Right? We start talking about these haunted items.
Yeah, everything's going off kilter. That's very interesting.
I'm going to try to get you set up on the computer there.
Thank you, Chris. Chris is the man tonight. Tell about, well, that's another thing. We were had a guest into the museum, and they were doing research in there. Outside, about 40 feet away, was Father Bob that we work with, and myself. And the guest had one of the entities, the objects in the museum, talk here. So they wanted to get out of there, and they wanted to verify that it was reported outside. They went to the front of the house in the yard. Meanwhile, Dan and Father Bob and I just sitting around talking. And I said, "So what are you watching on TV now? What's your latest thing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm in love with Joseph." And I said, "Oh my gosh, me too." And he and I just started back and forth about the season. And all of a sudden, Dan, you want to take it away?
As we're talking about, books of the Bible, the book of Matthew we're talking about. And, as soon as we started talking about, Jesus, Matthew, the disciples, all the items in the museum got really active. All the devices were going off, REM pods were going off, you name it. It was just going crazy. And
the door had been left open by accident, and all of the any detective items, REM pods, etc., were going crazy because they knew what we were talking about. I found that very interesting. So back to clearing an item. That's if you start to have activity in your home that is unusual, uncomfortable, a little threatening, but it'll always start off subtle. Now, you could have, say, and I bring up the table again, or jewelry, whatever you bought. You could have an item, an entity attached to that who would get into your home by bringing it in physically. Not have any activity for 3 days, 3 years, 30 years. It will wait until the time is right and the victim is ready on it to pray. So when I say pray, I mean to pray as a tap.
now, why would that happen? Now, why would
Because it already must. First off,
I know. I'm just people are listening.
Break it down. Number one, why would that happen? Because first off, no human being is a spirit of grandma, okay, earthly spirit who has transitioned, passed on. They cannot attach themselves to any items, a doll, even if they're granddaughters, etc. The Lord will not allow that to happen.
But
They
But if something tragic happened in that house, that item absorbs that energy.
exactly.
But it's not a spirit that's happening.
Exactly. That's one of them. What's that called, Dan? Residual energy.
Right.
It's not the actual soul attached to the table. It is energy from the activity of a rape that happened on that table. That brings in the situation where I think, again, for example, using holy water and a metal taped to the bottom of it would be a good idea, at least for 3 days. And if I brought the table into the house after that, I would also continue to do it for at least, I'd say, twice a month, depending on what happens. What you're doing is clearing the table of energy, okay? So that energy of the violence against another human being would be reduced and kind of like putting a scrub brush on it, scrubbing it out.
Okay, so here's a question.
Vibration.
Now, when the Warrens got involved in
Yes.
your apartment in the city,
Right.
Was there anything in that apartment that was brought in that caused the activity in
No.
your apartment? Or
No, and we were confused at the first part. Miss Warren was adamant that I had no history of using the Ouija board. And that was a simple answer: no, I did not. But she went on and on for like 3 days, trying to decipher. And I get where she was coming from. She wanted to know how this was brought in. Now, what I didn't know, and this was 38 years ago.
What year was it?
1987. 1987. In March, I got a hold of it. Started in October, went through 7 to 9 months alone with it, pre-priest, etc. And then finally the Warrens came into that March. Then what I didn't know then, couldn't have known, and nor could she or Mr. Warren, that I would be, as an adult, working to counteract the plan of the demonic, trying to identify and free people of the oppression. That's why it came into the apartment. That's why it came and attacked me like it did. Not because of Ouija, not because of seance, which is another way to get things. You open up a tool to talk to a spirit. And I don't want to overuse that word. You got to understand, folks. Here at the house, Dan and Chris and I and Tony Spera, we deal with just demonic. We don't deal with grandma. We can determine that we do deal specifically with bad spirits. So I don't want to overuse the D word. It's done now on the internet, but I'm only referring to
What do
that.
you mean about the D word?
Demonic.
Oh,
My bad.
What you
That's what you
think?
thought?
That's what
Okay.
What you think?
I thought
You mentioned a D
Demon.
word.
Demon.
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 Oh,
Yeah, demonic. Bad, negative, but really bad. Planning it out. So you can have an entity attached to a doll or a table, and it can stay there. It will be aware. Now, how does it be aware? If it's a demonic or a inhuman demonic spirit, the inhuman demonic spirit has never lived incarnation on earth. It's never walked in a human shoes. It has never been able to exist on earth like we do. So it has what's called the knowledge of the ages. It knows when you were born. It knows what your grandmother gave you on your fourth birthday and what you will eat tomorrow night with dessert after your meal. And it will use that against you in very subtle ways. For example, if it's attached to the table, it will wait because it knows you're going to be pregnant in 4 months. And it will wait for that child to be born because when that child's 10 years old, it's going to strike then.
Hmm.
And it's got this all worked out. So you could bring in an item and not have any activity for 30 years.
Right.
And then, like for example, I would use the holy oil of religious provocation just to do it and put on my music. And it would not be able to be attached to it. It would have to
so
leave.
it's more or less perfect.
It is and will and has waited for the perfect storm. Mr. Warren says it has all the time in existence. And it has.
Mm-hmm.
Incarnations after incarnations after incarnations. So don't expect anything to happen tonight. Bring the item. Oh, nothing's happened in 3 weeks, so it's fine. I say go ahead and clear it. And it will be fine.
But it's almost the same as like haunted location.
It is exactly like that. Yes.
Similar to the case.
And exactly, you bring up a good point because the Lutz family, especially Mr. Lutz, how do I say, spiked the energy, right? It worked through him, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
So the family, after the Lutzes moved and the house was abandoned, now there's a tenant that moved in with his family and wrote a book that it's all a hoax because nothing happened in the house when they lived there. Well, demonic knew it's not when you want to talk. If I want to talk to you and you're at your house and I'm at my house, what do? I make a phone call. Okay, I don't go to a car salesman and make a connection that way. So if you're a clairvoyant, if your frequency is high, if you're aware of the paranormal, that's going to attract more of that energy, like attracts it, and it's going to create that activity. So the family the Kaplan family that moved into the Anderson house and wrote the book later, about 10 years later, they didn't believe in anything paranormal or ghosts. So why are they going to be active in the family? Right? Just let them ride. No activity, etc. Hey, the demons were thinking, we're good. They're going to say we're not here, we don't exist. It's all a lie. It's all a hoax. See how they get off scot-free?
Yeah. And here's another thing that I was thinking about. You needed to destroy this item, right? Who you can talk
What is the item? Is it a Ouija board? Or is it
does it make a difference?
well, yes. A Ouija board is a smaller item. You can bury that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would it be bad to burn a doll with a haunted of a demonic or a Ouija board? Why would that be bad to burn?
Well, you're releasing the entity that's within that.
Right. The vessel is now destroyed. When you have a criminal, you put him in a cell in a jail.
Right.
You have a Ouija board that's really commanded by a demonic, and you burn it. You're just letting him
So
free,
it's
and he will do it
So
again.
then it's looking for a new host.
Exactly. He's looking for a new vessel.
Okay.
So like the doll, for example, that's why we don't destroy or burn any of them. When we have the vessel and it's locked in the museum, first off, we're protecting everyone outside the museum. It's society. Okay. We're keeping the demonic locked into a specific area and attachment to an item. So we know where it is. We know how to sanctify the area around it. So it can literally go into what I call a slumber coma for a month or 2 or 3 and leave it alone. You don't have to act on it or summon it or talk to it and encourage it in any way, unless you're doing research.
Right.
Which is another topic. But as far as releasing or destroying an item that has, if you brought in a chair and it's causing you have fear and your bed is bumping up and down, yeah, you want to be sure. And depending on the item, I would never burn it. That's like the last thing. You would give it to a church, but explain, and that's kind of a trick too, because a lot of churches aren't going to take that or know how to properly deal with it. But certainly, the item should be taken away from the children. Any encouragement to be around that item. And can I just say one thing that's rarely said? How to get something blessed. People always have a little problem with that. Here's some good advice that I've learned. Number one, this is so important. If you're going to get holy water or oil or metals or salt, for example, blessed, the priest, of course, will do that. And what makes it even more powerful is if you witness it yourself. So you can get things on Amazon, for example, that are blessed, and that's all good. But if you're there, present, and you have the items blessed or sanctified, it becomes a weapon because you're now part of that weapon. Your conscious saw and knows. You have a history record without being blessed. That gives it power, and because the demonic's going to first thing is that's ridiculous. That was obtained through the internet, and that's not blessed. You saw it get blessed. You don't have the upper hand because they will lie. So if you go to the back of the line after a service, especially after Mass, and you bring a little basket, a cloth over it, you don't need to make a big scenario out of it, and say, Father, I loved your sermon. I loved the part of listen, I just moved into a new home. Would you do me the favor of blessing these items? Show him the salt. Leave it in the basket. There's no reason he doesn't need to know everything.
So here's the thing.
And he will bless it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Okay. You go, right?
Your confidence is applied to the item, and you know it's blessed.
All right. You get a Ouija board. Are you going to give that to the priest
He
and
will
say,
bless.
that's what I'm talking about?
Well, that makes sense, but why would you do that?
There's some people out there that just don't. They don't know.
Do they want to bless? Do they want to bless the Ouija board as far as make it a powerful item, or do they want to have it blessed so that they can't bring in the demonic?
No.
Because that doesn't work that way.
No, that priest is going to run.
That priest is going to run.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with
In
that.
fact, he'll probably be very alarmed.
So when you you don't know until you experience it, right? And this goes back, and you know a lot, but you learned a lot from Ed because Ed helped you in the past, right? You talk about the church, getting the medals blessed. And this is all advice that Ed gave you.
Right, and then I learned on when Miss Warren said, for example, I had to have a particular method done. I had to have an item blessed. And I would go to the church to have it blessed, and the priest would want money. And at the time, I didn't have any. And I remember leaving the church in tears. I didn't know anything.
Right.
Okay, and I didn't know I challenged them, but I just went to the next church, being in New York City. Thank God, there's more than one.
Did you ever levitate?
Yes, twice.
Did.
Yes, and once in front of my friends. Yeah,
You told me about that. Was it a female friend that you had over at the house?
a male
with you?
friend.
A male friend.
The first, the activity got so bad in the house that it was unsafe for me to be there alone. I was punched, slapped, and these are by invisible hands. You can't see coming. I was kicked, thrown to the floor, bed lifted twice.
How long did this last?
That was 9 months alone. And then I got, I had a friend from high school who just moved that day before. And I went in and I said, this is sound weird, but you mind? I'm ghost tonight. Tuesday tonight? He did, and it was furious. And it was, I remember going to the living room, but at that point it was interesting because like 3 months I never wanted to go in there. I didn't know why. I didn't have what I have now as far as knowledge. And, in the corners, we talked about it the next day. The corners of the room had white mist in every corner. See it. And I didn't go in. He went in to the center of the room, and he called in Michael the Archangel. Well, it lifted me up off the ground and threw me. And it was at the breaking point. I was so terrified, and finally had a witness to what I could go through. I ran, and he was 6'4".
Right.
And I ran up to grab my neck around his arms, put my legs around his stomach, because I wanted it off the floor. I wanted to get away from what it could do. I was mentally cracking. And right when I grabbed him onto him, before he had time to breathe, it picked us both up. 330 pounds? No, 370 pounds. Picked us both up and threw us to the ground. And all the mini blinds went up and down. And then like we wanted to get out of that room. We walked to the bedroom and like the painting was rocking on the wall still. Yeah.
Like,
he stayed five nights.
Yeah.
And he saw everything. And then we had no equipment. I didn't know anything about that. Then finally he knew about the Warrens. And he said, there's a couple in Connecticut that do demonology. And I said, nope, that's the problem. We have demons in here. I don't want any demons more in here. And he said, no, they work to get rid of demons. They work with all faiths on the world. And I'll give them a call. And I said, well, if you think you should. And then believe it or not, the next day, Miss Warren called me.
Now, there's a lot of people saying that they can't hear Wade. And I just checked the mic and it's working fine. Try moving up a little bit.
Can they hear me a little bit?
I'm not sure. Try moving.
Is this better? Sorry, you couldn't hear me. Is that sounding better?
I'm not sure. Well, let's keep talking, Vic.
It's a shame because it's
just a yes or no. Can you guys hear us? Yes or no?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear us? Yes or no?
Echoing. I'm not sure that's. Yeah, something's weird going on tonight.
Now, see, they could be affected with equipment.
Patricia said yes. Karen said yes. They could hear us.
Thank you.
So
it's funny. We're talking about haunted items. Obviously, our podcast, we're here at the Warren's house. Museum is right downstairs. It's just odd that we're talking about this. And I'm not saying it is because
But they know.
But of course they know.
Yeah. Because they have the wisdom of the ages. Remember?
Okay.
So that's how. Go ahead.
I don't want to get too far off subject. So now, how long were you in that apartment before this started happening? Because this is the same apartment you live in now.
I still live there. You know why? Because it's my place. It's my space, and I'm not moving.
Okay, so how?
By the way, I went on a trip to Washington, D.C. The guy lives in an A-frame house, and what we determined was, I knew what it was, but what he's described as a goat was walking on the roof all night. You could hear the hoofs.
Okay, what's that got to do with you?
Well, in other words, if I moved
out
of that apartment, it would follow me. It wanted me.
Right.
It didn't want the apartment. It wasn't belonging, attached.
I wasn't sure where you were going with
that. That's another thing because, you see, you can get a home that's got attachments.
Okay, I don't want to go too far off yet. how long were you there before it started happening? Just for my own.
About 3 months.
So you're there 3 months and nothing happened.
No.
Okay.
And I was the second tenant that ever lived in there.
Did it slowly build up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
what's, yeah.
What do you think caused it? I mean, you've had
The entity,
30, 40 years to think about it.
Miss Warren and I determined with Mr. Warren that it's an inhuman demonic spirit that wanted to kill me. And it almost did.
Well, where did the
But why?
attachment come from?
Yeah.
I don't know where, obviously somewhere in New York City, walking around. And
It's right around the time Ghostbusters came out.
no, before, this is after that. Stop it.
I know. I'm just trying to let you know.
We believe that, I now believe, now that Miss Warren's passed, that inhuman demonic spirit that knew the wisdom of the ages, knew that I'd be doing this in a later lifetime, and it wanted to destroy it. It wanted to take me off the market. I am 100% convinced of that. Because there was no Ouija.
That's a great theory.
No, that's the only one. And Miss Warren and Mr. Warren were like, son, if you did the Ouija, you need to just let us know. And I'm like, Miss Warren, why would I lie to you?
Did the what? Did you do the weed or the Ouija?
The Ouija.
Oh, I think it's a weed.
Do the Ouija.
Okay, so that's
You doing some Ouija tonight?
So that's the answer to that question. But yeah, but I didn't know that then. You know, I had no idea.
We're gonna start using that phrase. Want to do some Ouija?
No.
Beat 3 Airspace says, you're being serious and we shouldn't make fun of them. Not nice.
Well, listen,
we're like brothers.
We're like brothers, and
this is the way we deal with things.
It's the way they pat me on the back.
A couple of weeks ago, we were throwing fists. So you never actually. You know what?
But that's kind of you to say.
You know what?
What?
Dan,
what?
I'm gonna do something. I want to show people the kind of relationship that we have.
Don't show the video of the car.
Oh, we're gonna show it. Show it. Go ahead.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Oh.
Can you guys hear that or not?
I don't know where my glasses are. I don't know where my glasses are. But I just see the trust I had. Oh, that's my voice. Where did I put? Oh, it's here.
Could they hear that?
I doubt it.
I don't know, but it's funny.
Anyway,
That's weird. I don't know why they can't hear.
I'm telling you.
Anyway, you guys got to check that out on our social media. It's up on Facebook and
I just wanted
TikTok.
to get a good picture of the hood of the car,
and it's hilarious, and it's Wade,
and I trusted Chris,
and we wouldn't have it any other way.
and Dan was in the car, furious and cranky as always. That's what we do. So, attached entities can be attached to anything, really.
Yeah.
Okay, and what else?
Well, I know it affected you. I mean, it affected you in a bad way. Because even after the Warrens helped you, you felt ashamed.
I was ashamed. I felt like I had done something bad. I felt I didn't talk. My family refused to acknowledge it. They would never talk about it. And I get it. But you take the emotion, you take the abuse. See, there's a lot of abuse that goes on in a haunting.
Yeah.
A lot of abuse that you don't deal with at that moment. Maybe not even that year. And like me, I pushed it away for 15 years.
And people got to understand, Wade's always, looking for answers and trying to understand things. And it's never the first opinion or the first, answer that he gets. He wants more. There's got to be more to it. And Wade's always been that. You've always been that way.
There was thumping so loud in my apartment. I called it thumping, banging. Specifically aimed where I was and my feet example. I have a wall below the sink in my kitchen. It's the only wall I didn't repair that has a crack that you would hear banging underneath the sink. And I opened up the cabinet, looked in there, and there was such a loud bang, it broke 4 feet of the wall.
Yeah.
And that crack's still there.
I mean, not only that, but
And not to mention the neighbors down below.
well, back then, I mean, you would tell somebody, you go to work, it just happened, right? You would go to work and you would tell your coworkers. And
yeah. No.
They didn't want to know anything about that, right? They thought you were crazy.
They were terrified. In fact, I lost my job at one point. It was something I learned very quick not to talk about. And so I didn't. You know,
it's tough because, people think you're crazy.
Yeah, 99% of the people on the earth never have to deal with that. And thank God. But yeah, no, I learned
how did that make you feel? I mean, I know you felt alone, right? Like you were alone.
And it wanted me to. It wanted me to feel isolated. It wanted to feel like I had no friends. I ran out of people to stay over. I mean, one woman who I'm still a very good friend with, she was kicked across the room by an invisible foot. Rolled. I saw her roll on the ground screaming. And like, she's not coming back tomorrow night. You know, I have to deal with that.
And then we had a priest here about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and this was the first time that I ever seen you get emotional. And
that was also because of the museum items. They knew my vulnerability, and it was emotional, and it opened up those mental memories of working with the priests, and then the entities in the museum. That's the second time they've done that to me. Attacked me emotionally.
And that's why I didn't want you going in the museum that
night.
But
then that way they win. They win. I'm stronger than that with my faith, and it's time to put it on the line.
I mean, this is what I like about Wade.
Well, otherwise they win.
Well, not only that, I mean,
they're in there tackling.
You're a genuine person. And people don't understand that. I mean, we might joke around with you and everything, but you're just a genuine person. You speak your mind. You say the way it is,
well, that's why I wanted to go back in there, because I'm not going to let them win. And I knew deep down inside when it wanted to kill me, and it was at the 4th stage, I knew it wasn't going to win. And I said, I know I'm winning. I'm not going to give in. So I didn't. And that way I knew I was winning, but it took time. It took a good 6 months to get rid of it. Thank goodness. But back to an attachment. Depending on the item, like for example, if you have a table that is bringing in a very strange activity in the house, how would you release that? You wouldn't want to burn it.
Well, I would do as personally myself, I'll do a binding ritual.
Very good. And what is a binding ritual?
A binding ritual is a prayer, with you're praying to the saints to bind that entity to that item or to relieve it of the item. Because once, and you know how it is when you start talking about religion, start talking about God, Jesus, and everything, they get offended by that. They don't want to be around that, So the more you
what's that called?
I call that as religious propagation.
Exactly. That's what Mr. Warren
I've done it in the museum. And
in Gettysburg.
And the museum reacted back to me.
Yeah.
Annabelle reacted back to me. There was one time when I was being filmed, and I started talking about religious provocation and everything in the museum in front of Annabelle. And people were telling me that I sounded like I was underwater.
Right. I remember.
Yeah. Were you watching that night?
Yeah.
And then at that time, I said, "Oh, then it's time to get outside the museum. Let's leave the museum for a while." And then when we went outside, we were getting voices from outside as well. Like it just followed me outside.
So we're going to get back to the binding prayer, but before that, Dan brings up an interesting point. You see how they're aware of if they affect our equipment tonight, how it will shortchange the podcast and not let the secrets out. That's why we do a Paracon, because we want to expose how the demonic works. Mr. Warren was adamant on that. He wanted to expose the devil and how its agents work. And it's not like we bring the items out of the museum every single month. Absolutely not. But we do know that there is a lot of knowledge to be given by studying these items and how they work. So that's why we bring them out once a year for the Paracon or the Devil on the Run tour, where we can educate and they can research. The people can research or watch the videos, say from the overnight that were filmed in the museum when they did their research, which is groundbreaking.
Right, their investigation.
Yeah, we thought a lot.
Like I said, it's just to show that these items are active inside that museum. It's one of the reasons why we do that. This way, when we could talk about them to you, that that evil does exist, and then God exists, and that brings up a whole other subject that we could talk about. These items, not the story just behind them. The story, those are the stories those were Ed and Lorraine's investigations that are attached with these items. What we're doing is, okay, how does that affect somebody, in their lives with anything, living in a haunted house, dealing with a haunted object? What is it? So, and then we bring our aspect of thought into it with our religion. Because, this society was created, through the Catholic religion, through Ed and Lorraine's faith, and we still continue that today. So that's the difference between us and a lot of other groups. It's not to say that, you need to be Catholic to do this work. Just be good people. Somebody has said, it's being positive and having some kind of faith, higher power that could fight these demonic beings,
and if
or something negative, that you're dealing with. It could be a negative spirit that you're dealing with.
If you're a Buddhist or Hindu or Native American, we absolutely will absolutely work with you. How could we not? Because I've been to a situation where I felt there was no hope, and there was no one out there. And I had lost my job and was running out of money. And it wanted me to get down and down, lower in frequency, lower into misery, and then attack me. By the way,
wait, do me a favor.
But
come sit on this seat over here.
Is
This one's better.
Come sit over here.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna switch Wade's camera up. He's gonna see him walk right behind me. There you go. Sit right there, buddy.
Chris, hang on, with my glasses.
Thank you. Glasses.
You know what? This is. Oh, I see. I'm not even there.
There you go. Now
Sorry, folks. Let's see how this works.
there you go.
Okay. You know what is something that came to me just now?
What's that one?
And thanks for your patience, folks. See, I could have blessed this room beforehand. I could have done the holy water and the high church incense method.
Maybe you should have done that.
I
it's kind of too late
that.
now.
And
After we lost
I
Wi-Fi, we lost our cameras.
But
lost
you know
our
what?
mic.
This is a learning tool for everybody in the audience.
What?
So you can also prepare a room, and don't forget your car.
You're slacking.
What?
You're slacking. This should have been done already.
So that's a very good point. You can prepare your home before you bring an item in, because trust me, that item will not want to stay there long. And if it's person target, it'll wait outside and literally look in the windows, and it'll be there the next day, and it'll on the third day.
It's kind of unrealistic for people to bless every single item that they bring into their home.
So you bless the home because
when you say
no, wait, if you're going to go to the church and have an item blessed, like I spoke about, do you know that the necklace you wear is also blessed? Then, your clothing, your keys, etc., are all blessed. So as far as having a priest come bless your home, in that example, all of your things are blessed. The dinnerware and the if you open up all the cabinets when you have a blessing, all the better. Why not?
When you say that they can see you through your windows in your house and everything,
You can feel them.
it's kind of when Chris and I went to my aunt's house that one time, and we were interviewing my aunt about my past growing up with them in this 4-family house. And remember when she said they're watching me from across the street by the light pole?
Yeah.
And she says it's out there right now looking in.
Yeah. At first we thought it was the mob.
Yeah, we thought it was the mob, but yeah, because
Right. We thought
the
right.
family connections with my family and everything. But that's a whole other story. And
But right, she was saying that
it goes deep.
that she thought she was being watched through the windows.
Yeah,
all
but
the time.
When you clear a home for the first time and it's proven demonic there and you clear it out, they don't run. They sit there and are right around the building or apartment or the home, and they're waiting for the next time they can get in.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see if you do that again, And so I always say with the client, do that for at least 30 days, not 29,
Mm-hmm.
30 days, and to make it. Every time you do it, it gets stronger and stronger because more layers of the physical room are covered in protection of divine blessedness, and it can't be in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. It'd be like, and I use this analogy, and I'm going to go 2 points here real quick. It would be like setting a card table up in a men's room on the New Jersey Turnpike and having your Thanksgiving meal while the toilets are being flushed, etc. Repulsive, and you don't want to be there. That's the same feeling that demonic will get when you come into a blessed home. It will feel very uncomfortable, and that's what we try to do to shift. Like, for example, here and at the museum, we try to do that almost every weekend, actually.
Yeah, I think we're on that subject. I mean, I know there are times like when we help somebody from a family in the household, and things get better with that person. Then months later, it starts affecting somebody else in the family. Mm-hmm. So it's waiting for someone there to become weak in order to attack them.
There will always be a target.
Because right now we're dealing with the case. I just haven't had time to go out there and help this family, but that's what I'm dealing with now on this case now in Massachusetts, and I feel bad that I haven't had the time to go out there yet. And we just been so busy, and
but you're there on the phone. I mean, you're talking to them.
Yeah, but it's not. And
I know it's not the same.
It's not the same. You want to get there.
Emotional and mental support.
But that's what he's given him as well, is that emotional support.
You need that. That's rarely done. But you and I could go to a location of this type and immediately know the target.
Well, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, get in there, and it knows when you're coming. It knows before you enter the house that, it's going to go down. But it's getting there. And it seems like there's so many obstacles that are thrown ahead of you.
Then you're going to do good work. You're going to do some combat, and for a good reason.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, like I said, it wears on you. I mean, these last 2 months, I think, it's worn on me. Not just, dealing with the Paracon and everything. It's,
that would be enough.
Trying to help people, and it wears on you. And there's times that I know I have things I have to do, and you just don't want to do anything. You just want to sit there, and it beats you down, and you're trying to get back up, and you have things you have to do. And that's the battle that we deal with. Because when we help people that are dealing with these things, it affects us, and we know it does, right? And then we say, okay, we got to back away. Even when you try to back away, it's still affecting you some way. It's just obstacles that you're trying to get over and over, and it's just dealing with people, and then you have all this other stuff going on. But I love what I do. I love it, and I get the gratification out of it. I love, like I said, when we're doing these events and everything, I want the people to have a good time when they come to the Paracon. But like I said, the other aspect, the other part of NESPR is working with families and helping people, and one-on-one, and that wears on you, and no, that's just me.
See, you and I take that on or in. We both we let it affect us. emotionally and mentally? What are we looking at?
Charles, he says, what a ghost think about Hawk too. But
Hawk 2?
And why don't you explain that to Wade?
the girl that's the internet sensation, the Hawk 2 girl. You never heard of the Hawk 2 girl?
Wrong guy.
Okay.
He is the wrong guy.
Yeah, he is the wrong guy.
Most definitely the wrong guy.
Well, anyway, but yeah, the demonic works on so many levels, seen and unseen. So yeah, it will wear and tear on you. The Warrens needed a vacation. They did, but they also, of course, Mr. Warren would stir in a place that had a haunted church.
Yeah.
For example, and so they would tie it that way. But they got some clear head. They could clear their heads, because I tell you, there's a lot going on in a haunting, especially if it's a dangerous demonic that is not explained. Emotionally, that's where Dan and I come in good. Mentally, that Dan and I come in good. And physically, that's where Chris comes in, because he's our skeptic. He wants to see everything done twice, and that's why we love him.
Yeah, but Chris is starting to hear and see things
I'm
now
not
more
seeing
often than anything.
Well, you are.
What happened in the museum last
One
week?
time, all right.
What happened in the museum last week?
Right.
What did you hear
And
last
could
week?
you deny it? Could you prove that twice?
No, I can't
No.
deny it.
What happened? What happened in the museum?
As I was approaching the museum, there was a growling sign, and for sure, no doubt about it. I don't hear that often, but it happened, and then at what was that, West
At the prison, you saw
at
the
the prison
shadow.
In Missouri,
in Missouri,
state penitentiary.
right? We saw me and my daughter saw it, and that was the first time. That was the first time we ever saw something.
A shadow man.
So, well, I don't know if it was a shadow man. No,
Well, from what you described, it is.
it was just a shadow. That went across.
And running down the entire length of the jail hall. Yeah, that's a shadow person, shadow man.
So, Chris, what are we doing tonight? You want to announce a winner?
we almost didn't have a podcast tonight, but it's been a while that we're on our regular schedule, so we wanted to have our raffle for the tour of the museum. Now, you guys all know that the museum is closed to the public. The town won't allow us to give public tours anymore. So we're going to do a private tour. And we decided that we're going to hold 3 raffles. And those who bought tickets to the Paracon, the Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon, are automatically entered into it. So if you win, you and 3 of your friends will get to come out here to Monroe, Connecticut, and visit the museum and get a private tour from Nesper. And
All right, how many of these we're doing?
we're doing 3. We're doing one tonight,
Okay.
very shortly. So you got a couple of minutes if you want to get in on that. Just go ahead onto our ticket site and
Purchase your
a
tickets.
ticket.
And then you're automatically
And that's
entered
Warren's-
into the drawing.
Yeah,
If you bought
Warren's Convention,
this is August.
warrensconvention.com, and purchase your ticket. A couple minutes, and you'll be automatically entered.
And this is a lifetime opportunity because, like I said,
I'll
the
say.
museum's not open to the public, so we don't do
Right.
the public
We-
tours. So if you purchase a ticket to one of our events, your name's automatically entered into the drawing.
Not one of our events. The Seekers of
Seekers of Supernatural Paracon.
So if you bought the ticket in June, you would be
You're
in the pool.
automatically
You're
entered.
already entered.
Okay, so if
so
you
you're
bought a
in.
ticket, you're entered. Yeah.
Right. And
So,
if you don't win this time, you still have an opportunity to win
Okay.
in our next drawing.
Just give me a minute here. Let me make sure that I have everybody updated that might have bought in the
And
past
this is
10
an
minutes or so.
escorted tour of the museum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's go.
So if you don't win tonight, don't give up. There's 2 more drawings.
Let me,
When's the last drawing?
the last drawing is, I think, the week before.
The
The
Paracon.
weekend before the Paracon.
Okay, so
Um,
so the middle of September at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'll tell you in a second. I want to make sure we get all those right dates. So September 23rd, which is today, August 23rd is today. September 6th and September 20th, we'll do live drawings. So let's get back.
Good.
I'm going to share the screen.
Why are you laughing?
What I
My
do?
Charles keeps talking about the hot school girl. Oh God.
Do you know who it is?
Oh, Dan knows who it is.
I know. I know. Shit.
All right, let's see. Let's go on here. Oops, wrong one. We don't want that one.
Laura's asking why don't they allow tours in the museum? Well, due to zoning laws in the town of Monroe, they had us eliminate us doing tours of the Warrens Occult Museum. This was even while Lorraine was still alive. The traffic and everything, the area is not zoned for a public venue like that to hold these tours. So the museum was closed to the public, and that's why we put on the Paracons. We were doing the evenings with Annabelle, but we're going to be starting again the Warrenologies in the future, coming soon, where you come to a location and we bring the items to that location. We have a dinner presentation, meet and greet, and everything.
Those are fun.
We talk
love
about,
those.
hauntings.
Play some videos.
Yeah, it's just a great time.
Get your questions
Great
answered.
food.
We
Food.
used to do the Warrenologies here at the house with Lorraine and Tony. And looks like we're going to be starting them up again, but not at the house, but like I said, at a location here in Connecticut. And they were fun, and we're going to start doing those again.
All right. You guys ready?
Ready.
We're all right. Let's get on here, and here we go. All right. So, depending if you bought 3 tickets, your name was entered 3 times. So you're in this. It's a random wheel. We spin the wheel, and let's just do it. Here we go. Spinning the wheel. Round it goes. Our special winner is Snyder. Kelly Snyder is our lucky winner.
Congratulations.
That's she's going to be excited. That's for sure. And we'll reach out to all 3 winners. We're probably not going to reach out until after our Paracon is over, till everything slows down, and
Maybe go on Facebook and check and just let her know.
Well, Chris is going to do that.
yeah,
He's got all that, her
we have all
information, her email, and everything.
And there we go.
So congratulations to Shelly Snyder. I wonder if she's related to Rob Snyder.
That'd be cool.
That's exciting. Congratulations.
Shelly.
And we'll be there with you.
Yeah. All right. On to the next. Do you guys want to talk about the Paracon?
Yeah, like I said,
I mean, since the last time we added some new people.
Yeah, we're getting closer. We added a couple other special guests. We have Angelina from the Jersey Shore that will be joining us at the Paracon. Thing about Angelina is big into the paranormal. I've been talking to her on the phone a lot lately, and she's got some crazy stuff going on, I believe, at her house right now. But yeah, and but she's always been interested in the paranormal. Like even with her, like her family. I mean, she grew up, with her grandmother. I think her grandmother, whatchamacallit, got her interested in the paranormal.
The activity at the house, is it without going public? Is it?
We are public.
Well, I know that, but just remember we're public, mostly for me. In other words, is she scared? Is it threatening, or is it just?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
Actually,
by the way, can I say one thing that Miss Warren, would day one? If you have something demonic in your home, you're gonna know about it.
Well, we're gonna get there, and I'm not.
No, and I'm not saying she does.
That's
no.
for her to speak on her own.
Right.
We're gonna have her on one of our podcasts. We're also gonna be doing her podcast as well in Staten Island. I believe that's where we're gonna be going. So Angelina is gonna be joining us. She's a good friend, and she's a great girl. I mean, she really is, and I can't wait to work with her. And then we have Kelsey Davies. I want to pronounce her name properly.
Yep. Kelsey Davies.
And we have Chris Starr as well.
You guys might have seen some of their recent social medias.
Yeah.
just,
They're
just
huge
at
on
the museum.
TikTok. They're huge on YouTube. We got Sean Austin.
Mhm.
Sean came to our previous Paracon. Sean's a great guy. We
Great
worked
guy.
with him. We worked with him in the past, and still do. I mean, he's just like I say, he's a good friend of ours. So he's going to be joining us at the Paracon. Come, like I say, come meet Sean, Kelsey, and Chris. Those are our new additions to the Paracon. And we also, like I said, we got Get Haunted. They're going to be representing over at Warren's Paracon as well. Ghostly Magazine.
Wow.
And we're going to be featured in
Ghostly
Ghosted Magazine. And we're going to be featured in their magazine, the October issue, I believe.
Which is their year anniversary issue.
Is that what it is?
First year anniversary issue.
Oh, cool.
So
With April and
How cool is
Michael. Phenomenal work.
That's big.
So they're going to be at the Paracon as well. April and Michael Castro, they both put this together.
Yeah, if you guys haven't heard of the magazine or have seen it yet, grab yourself a copy. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's old school. There's actually a print magazine. It's old school, which is kind of cool.
You know what dawned on me? There's so much help, information, and venues for assistance if you're having trouble with the paranormal world. Back in the day, it was just a phone book.
Just do your homework
and do your homework. But there
don't just
are
go
legit.
to somebody.
No one should be charging you, but there are legit people out there that can assist you now. And in other words, I was telling someone, you never have to go through this alone again.
Just do your homework and interview people before you bring them into your house. My first group that I got into, I'm not going to mention their name, but I was so embarrassed. I left in a couple of weeks. I never was involved with the paranormal until this group I joined because I was curious.
Yeah.
And they were the worst. It was embarrassing.
The environment wasn't.
It was so embarrassing what they did. I'm not even going to mention their name or what they did.
Right.
But they should be ashamed of themselves, and they're an embarrassment to the community.
But some people are so vulnerable; they'll take anything.
I understand that. That's why we have to tell people, do your homework.
And there are easy ways to do that now, as far as the internet goes. And I mean, just ask people. I'm thinking of the Get Haunted staff and crew. There's so much help there. There's so much information there. Don't put it this way. If you're going through rough stuff, you're not going to be afraid to ask.
Right. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. Speaking of Get Haunted and Ghosted Magazine and April and Rob and all
Sarah.
those people, Sarah and Michael. There's another event after ours.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's you guys can see that the Supernatural Soiree, October 26th on the Battleship, New Jersey.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, so October 26th, the Supernatural Soiree. I'll put a link in the.
And it's hosted by Get Haunted and Ghosted Magazine.
It's kind of like if you could go to an Oscar party in the paranormal world, it's going to be that kind of fun attitude. It's a party.
It's laid back.
It's laid back.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
Like nothing has ever existed before. Like
Wade's bringing his swim trunks. You're going
to jump off the deck.
Cannonballs off the deck.
Yeah,
you're going to do the Titanic episode.
Someone needs to film me when they shoot the first cannon off, because that's where I'll do a jig. Because I hate loud noise.
I want to see you leaning forward over the front bow of the ship.
Someone wake him up. He's dreaming.
And play the Titanic song.
It'll be fun, and there'll be a cash bar. There'll be celebrities. There's going to be fire.
Oh, there's cash bar too.
People, fire people spinning things.
It's going to be all that stuff.
Yeah,
really.
And something called 360.
Rob, is that true?
360 camera, which I think you stand on a platform and they film you 360. Anyway, and then there'll be a seance at midnight. Oh, by the way, and this ship is haunted.
And you guys get to meet Wade, myself, and Chris, and Tony Spera. We're all coming.
Tony, we're going to drag him too.
Yes,
yeah, Patty Neighbor is going to be there. I don't know if you've seen Patty. Patty's been on multiple shows. I think she's been on a few of travel channels with Zach Baggins there with the at the museum. She's been on there.
Zach who?
No, don't mention the name again.
Well, you know what? Listen, you could bad talk this guy and everything. He's been on TV for multiple seasons and everything. Yeah, we had our grease with him and everything in the past, but you know what? He's still on TV, and he still has a show. So people like him. There's people out there that still like him.
Of course.
You might not agree with what he does and everything, and we're not here to dog people out or anything like that.
They brought a lot of attention to the community as well. So
exactly.
If we can work off of that and still work together and get our word out there, hey, whatever.
Compassion, patience, awareness, observation, and documentary are so many topics when you talk about what we talked to attached items this evening. All of those topics apply, and I could talk 2 hours on each one, if not 10. But yeah, be patient with yourself, with your friends. Be patient for. In other words, don't demand activity. Don't command it. You're calling forth permission for it to be there. You don't want that. And be patient with your friends because they may save you one night.
I totally missed what you were saying. Like I just totally my ADD.
Have compassion for someone who.
Yeah, you just started.
Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at him because he looked right at you for 10 minutes and has no idea what you said.
Have you met him?
Yes, it's
Okay.
so aggravating.
Okay.
This Paracon is so hard with Dan Rivera. It's so hard.
Listen, I do a lot of work. All right, I do a lot of work, and
What happened last year? What time
I
did you
just
wake
get
up? for
so
Paracon?
involved.
What time did you wake up?
What time did you
Because I didn't stop. I did the midnight show.
You did the midnight.
All right.
No, I'm talking about when you were
I
at
was
home.
up to like 2
This is
o'clock
what
in the
you haven't
morning.
even got in the car yet to drive to the Paracon. And I called you and said, "Where are you, Dan?"
What?
And he went,
where
But didn't I catch up to you on the highway?
And I don't know how you did.
I caught up to you on the highway, and I made it there before
The
you. I
most
cut you off.
important day
I
of the
cut you
year.
and Arnie off,
Dan
and I got there
asleep.
before you.
And Arnie and I are like, well, we got to go. We got to be there at 10 o'clock. No one, but believe it or not, as we're going down with all the items behind us in the truck, here comes Dan. We're right by us. Why? What are you mad at? Oh, you mean well, I'm talking 2 years
I'm
ago.
not mad.
2
No,
years ago.
because I stay up late that night,
No,
and then I
he's
don't get
mad
up in
because
the morning.
yesterday he drove. I mean, last year he drove.
I would have stayed up late too, but I fell asleep during your shows.
No, we were arguing with each other after the show
And before.
and before, and then the morning
Have you
Morning
seen
of.
of.
Have you seen the
During.
keys to the truck?
Oh, stop. Stop.
See, this is what's going to happen, but it's all good. We work well together, and
Look,
that's-
listen, our audience
that's
is
the-
telling us to calm down.
That's the demonic downstairs messing with us.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, that's why we get along so good because we just go at each other.
we don't.
There is
You
no
don't take
fil-
anything
there
personal.
is no
We
filter
don't take it
there.
personal, and we don't hold grudges and keep it inside us. My mouth is fine.
Oh, they're getting a little dry.
Okay.
You sure you don't want? What is this? Dry mouth
It's for when,
moisturizing tablets.
Let's wrap this
let's
nonsense up.
see what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
drags it. Lower the frequency, Dan. Lower the frequency.
We've been on for over an hour. That's enough.
In the music,
They
in
don't wanna
the
hear it.
Paracon,
It's
I'll
silly
talk
now.
for 12 hours with joy and teaching, and then these help me going. That's what I'm explaining. What the hell is dry mouth pills?
Okay, yeah. See, it's time to end this.
All right. So are we done here
Yes,
for
we're
tonight?
all done.
All right. Listen, guys. Thanks for joining this podcast. We announced the winner. What's the winner's name again?
Shelly
Snyder?
Snyder.
Shelley
Shelly Snyder. Congratulations.
All right. And now they get to choose the date after the Paracon.
After the Paracon, we'll reach out and we'll come up with a date that they can get out here.
Okay.
And
That's exciting.
that is exciting.
All right. And our next guest that we're going to have on our podcast, we're looking to have Angelina on next.
Well, Angelina's going to be on. I don't know when she won't be live. That'll be a
We're
pre-recorded.
going to do pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And okay.
So-
So we're going to be working on our next podcast with special guests from people that are going to be attending the Paracon. So, guys, thanks for joining in. Thanks for viewing another Secrets of the Supernatural podcast with Wade Kirby and Chris Galoran.
And
Sorry,
Spera.
Tony wasn't with us tonight. He's not feeling well. He'll be here next time. I'm reading some of these questions. I just keep going. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching.
Love, hugs, kiss. All right, Wade, that's all for you. So that's not for me. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks to Get Haunted for hosting this podcast for us. See you guys.
Thank you.
Good night.